Board members, do I have a motion to go in open?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Curtis, second. Mr. Dam? Good evening, everyone. All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Roselle Gymnasium/Auditorium. We're going to start off with the first public participation portion of the evening. There are two, and this first one is for agenda items only. So if everyone has an agenda, so if there's anything on this agenda that you'd like to speak on, please come forward, state your name, address, and what you'd like to talk about. Seeing there is no one, we'll close the first public participation portion of the evening, and now we'll go to committee reports. We have a report. Does anyone have a report on our committee?
Yes, Mr. President, just a brief report.
Can you invite us on, please? One moment, Mr. Balvin.
Hi, Union County Educational Services Commission, the Connections newspaper came out, and it highlighted the grant that Union County Ed Services Commission received from Columbia County to the tune of $15,475. And it'll be used to purchase special adaptive technology equipment for the vocational program at the middle school and for autistic children. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Balvin. Anyone else? Seeing there's no one, we'll go on to the superintendent's report. Good evening, Mr. Greer.
Good evening, Mr. Miller. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. I would like to start my report by telling everyone that we can all sit back, breathe, park is over. As a matter of fact, the end of the year park testing ended this week. We had makeups that are being given, and then after that, we will move on. There is life after park. There is life after park. Things went well with some very minimal technology glitches, as we all know, everyone in the state experienced that. We're hoping to get some type of reports from what I've been hearing from the state. It's not going to happen until probably October or so. So, all the anxiety, we will not see anything back from the state until October. But again, we got through it. Students did the best that they could. The teachers prepared them very well for the first year testing, and we're very proud of both our students and our staff for doing an outstanding job. My second item on my report is actually a very happy one. I'm very proud to report that our high school robotics team qualified for the national competition in Dallas, Texas. In order to qualify, the team had to finish either first or second in several competitions leading up to the last one. The Technology Science Association, I believe that's what it's called, they select 2 teams per state. Here we have 591 districts in the state of New Jersey, and Little Roselle Park, finished second in the state competition such as this. So we are extremely, extremely proud. There are 6 members and 2 advisors. The 2 advisors, and I would like to congratulate them and celebrate their efforts, is Jameson Chin and Hilton Seberg. Our students that participated and will be going over to Dallas, Texas in the week of June 28th. I believe it is from June 28th to July 2nd is the competition. And the students attending is our Angel Castillo, who is the driver. He's called the driver. Elena Pajowska, Lacey Tumbling, they are the robot designers. Thomas Sampson, Mikhail Maslowitsky and Daniel Maslowitsky are the programmers. So that encompasses the team that will be going over to Dallas, Texas for the national. Also, I just want to remind the public that next week, May 21st, we are being monitored by the State Department of Education, actually the County Office of Education, and the monitoring, as we all know, is the New Jersey QSEC. It's done once every 3 years. They look at 5 different components, and they see if we are effective in those 5 components. The May 21st visit will be what is called a desk audit of all our reports and things such as that. On June 8th, they will come back and they will make classroom visits at that time. So I do not know the schools that they will be visiting. I do know that June 8th will be the school visit. And that's all I have for the superintendent's report at this time. Thank you very much, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Brito. Now we're going to go into policy. And I would like someone to make a motion to approve agenda item 1, which is a district policy, first reading.
Mr. President, I'll move item 1.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Dan, any questions or comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on why we're approving this policy. When I looked at the original language of the existing policy and the new policy, basically this policy conforms to the new federal and state standards of nutritional programs in our schools. It emphasizes limitations in sugary drinks and limited amount of items on the menu involving trans fats. So basically, it is really a more solid wellness policy.
Thank you, Mr. Bellman. Anyone else?
Is that something that our current vendor is going to be able to provide, additional charges or anything?
Mr. Gerton. Yes, Mr. Gerton, the current food service company is also involved in the development of this policy, and there will be no additional charge as a result.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Vice President Harms?
Yes.
Mr. Balaban?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Brockenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Dam?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Vita?
Yes.
President Miller?
Yes.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now we're on to personnel. Where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 2 through 7. 2 being district substitutes, 3 being Sherman Elementary principal appointment, 4 being staff appointments, 5 being after-school instruction, 6 being staff resignation, 7 being sick day bank. Do I have a motion? Mr. Nelson, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Burton, are there any questions or comments? Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Vice President Harms? Mr. Balaban?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Brockenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Dam?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Vita?
Yes.
President Miller?
Yes.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now we're on education. I just want to make a motion to approve agenda items 8 through 11. 8 being education programs, 9 being establish a special education program, 10 being an educational trip request, and 11 being workshop attendance request. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Harms, second.
Second.
Mr. Balaban, any questions or comments?
Number 9, Now, in establishing such a program, are we going to reconfigure existing space, or are we using already space that we have there? I mean, are we redesigning any space there?
We'll be using existing space that's available, Mr. Bowman.
And what is the estimated number of enrollees in this program? Do we know?
It varies. Yeah, it might be 3, it could be as many as 5 or 6.
All right.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Gerber.
So last year, Mr. Curcio, I recall that we, in a couple, we haven't wrong, but we had some sort of agenda item very similar to this. Is this reestablishing that program?
What it's doing is establishing a similar program that at a higher grade level. The program we approved previously was for kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade, and as children age on, there is a need to also age on program. So now we are establishing a similar program for children in grades 3, 4, and 5, which you must do so by law.
And I'd also like to comment on number 10 and echo Mr. Greer's sentiments on wishing our robotics club good luck, Mr. Chin, Mr. Cyber, on their trip down to Fort Worth, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. And also want to thank Art and Soul Gallery and Roselle Park for opening their doors for the 3rd grade students to come in and to paint in a really neat venue for them. That's great. That kind of learning is unforgettable. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gerber.
With regard to number 10B, we're going to follow up on the insurance, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Follow up on the insurance, and also, my understanding is that the expense to the district is not very much beyond registration and essentially the insurance.
And if you'd like to read up more on that, there was a part of this has been before on the products as well. And the fundraising efforts. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Those items are passed. And now we're on to business, where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 12 through 18. 12 being monthly certification, 13 being approval of bills, 14 being approval of minutes, 15 being the secretary treasurer report, 16 being use of buildings and grounds, 17 being approval of transfers, and 18 being district contract.
Motion.
Mr. Dam, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Burton, any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Those items are passed. And now we're on, would like someone to make a motion on agenda item 19. And 19 is the adoption of the 2015-2016 school year budget and tax levy. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Dam, second.
Second.
Mr. Harms, are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment about this.
Can you speak to the microphone?
Yes, I will. Our district thrives on tax dollars just like any other school district in the state of New Jersey. What the state of New Jersey does is play a game of smoke and mirrors called bank caps and other issues such as, we'll give a tax break 1 year to taxpayers, but then we'll give the green light to local governments to make up that amount, maybe 2-3 years down the road. And I kind of find that unfair. But I'm in a position, to supply our children with the best possible education opportunity there is in Union County and in the state of New Jersey. Our schools are becoming more competitive, and we're meeting the giants and we're meeting the challenges head on statewide. Our kids are now competing nationally in Texas. and it's because of tax dollars. But what the state is doing is shirking its responsibility. We haven't had any additional tax money. It's only a flat rate for the past couple of years. So what it is doing is hiding behind local governments so that people can point to me and the local government as saying, oh, they increased your taxes. Meanwhile, the state is pulling the lever on all this. So that's my comment about the budget process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. Anyone else? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Vice President Harms?
Yes.
Mr. Balaban?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman? Mr. Bruckenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Dam?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Mina?
Yes.
President Miller?
Yes.
Roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We did the committee reports. Are there any liaison reports that anyone would like to?
Just an update that I'm attending the SBA delegate assembly on Saturday, May 16th. So, report to follow after.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Bowman. The New Jersey School Boards Association has 2 meetings, the delegate assembly, 2 meetings a year. And for the past couple of years, Roselle Park has been represented there, which is really a good thing because we go down, one of us will go down there. Mr. Bowman, thank you for volunteering some women and taking a Saturday to do that. And we hear the, we hear the State of the Union as far as the New Jersey School Boards Association, what's going on out there, what's going on in schools, what initiatives are out there, and what legal cases are pending. And we get a chance to shape the policy in with New Jersey School Boards through our comments as well. So it's very productive, and it's just another way of getting Roselle Park on the radar and really promoting our district and getting out there. So thank you, Mr. Bowman, and I look forward to that report. Anyone else? And now we're on to continuing business, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. There have been 3 students throughout the year that have been identified as not residing in Roselle Park, and therefore they have been removed from the schools. Thank you.
And now we're on to new business. Does anyone have any new business to report? Well, we do have Mrs. Long here tonight, and she's our appointed Sherman School principal. And I would like to invite Mrs. Long to meet our staff, our parents, and our students, as well as the board. Mrs. Long, good evening.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say, Mr. Brito and Board of Education members, thank you so much for this opportunity to be your next Sherman School principal. I'm really so excited to be coming back to Roselle Park as an administrator, and I hope that I can do a great job for you, working with parents, working with students and the staff to inspire them and continue the awesome reputation that Sherman School has that I know. So thank you.
Thank you. Seeing that there's no other business to report, we'd like to now open up the second public participation portion of the evening. And this portion, you can come up and speak on anything you'd like to speak about. Just please say your name and address and what you'd like to speak about.
Hello, Jody Floyd, 429 Seton Avenue.
Good evening.
I'm just here to speak on behalf of my child, my 5th grade child's teacher, Miss Gina Faria. She is truly a wonderful, dedicated teacher. She goes above and beyond for all of her students, her parents, colleagues. I've worked with her for she's been here 22 years, I've been here 18 years. I've worked with her every day other than my maternity leave. She is truly an asset to Roselle Park, to Albion School. We love her and we don't want her to go. Thank you.
And board members, Rebecca Lodwick, teacher at Albion School. I stand before you as part of a whole that is soon to be dismantled. Some might say we at Roselle Park refers to change. I beg to differ.
We are all educators and realize change is necessary, and throughout the years have taken strides in what deemed to be positive changes. First, to be the voice of the non-tenured teachers who were released from their positions only months away from receiving their tenure, with nothing but positive observations. At some point 3 years prior, these people were hired, believed to be effective educators. So isn't it the responsibility of administration to guide them over their 3-year span, as opposed to offer positive feedback and abruptly terminate their position? Also, recently, as Jody said, a staff member of 20-plus years at Aldine has been selected by the principal to be transferred. This move will greatly change the climate of our school. We as a staff are devastated. This teacher has helped to bring together talent, skills, and motivation to Aldine. We are all committed to working together to meet the needs of our students. She is the core of us, cooperatively devising techniques, strategies, and materials to optimally meet those needs. We do not work alone or in isolation, but as a team, and we do not want to lose our teammate. There has been conversation as a district of implementing co-teaching in the upcoming school year. With little or no training in this area, our strength is us. We as a staff already have knowledge of each other's strengths and weaknesses. This program's success is largely based on working easily with one another. For a program which is fueled on strong staff relations, why break that up? My point being, change is made when it is for the best of most people. This is clearly not the case. In fact, research has found when teachers leave schools, morale appears to suffer enough that students' achievement declines. We have been told repeatedly that changes are being made in the best interest of the children. Roselle Park is a unique community and education system. We as teachers are part of the community. We are part of the neighborhood and have built relationships with these families which reflect positively on the success of our students' academic achievement. What positive outcome comes from dismantling the building? This is not about stamping our feet on the ground and crossing our arms in defiance. We will meet any challenge head on. But why when we have already faced so much change and will continue to, as the education carousel never stops turning? The shift in education has led us to gather and assess a tremendous amount of data, implement new programs, and gear students toward the administration of the park. We have jumped on board wholeheartedly with our children being our number one concern. Bringing down morale, dismantling staff in no way, shape, or form will benefit any educational program. Change is good. For whose good is this change being made? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Claudia Dreyhouse, and my daughters both suffer from selective mutism.
I'm sorry, what's your address?
I live at 447 Fayette Avenue.
Thank you.
They're currently in the 2nd grade and have been attending Aldine School for 3 years. Selective mutism is a complex childhood anxiety disorder characterized by a child's inability to speak and communicate effectively in selected social settings, such as the school. These children speak and communicate in settings where they are comfortable, secure, and relaxed. This disorder is quite debilitating. These kids have an actual fear of speaking and of social interactions where there is an expectation to speak and communicate. Just like I have to be my children's voice in school and advocate for them, I am here to voice my feelings on what is happening. Our teachers have worked vigorously to help Sarah and Morgan succeed and overcome their disorder and any academic issues due to their disorder. Ms. Christine Sass, the Aldine School Counselor, Mrs. O'Reilly and Mrs. Durkin, the Aldine School Teacher, and I love you and I thank you for everything you have done for my children. Along with Mrs. Lang and Mrs. Arizari, have been a crucial, intricate part in my twins' path. Without them, I do not know where we would be. Mrs. Sass, the guidance counselor, has been an anchor for my children. I can count on one hand who my children are verbal with, and Ms. Sass is one of them, and on the top of the list. To remove her or any teacher from Aldine will be detrimental to the well-being of my children. Having the twins suffer from SM, it took my daughters 2 years to develop their relationship with her and be verbal. They finally have someone in school who they deem their safe person, between Mrs. O'Reilly, Mrs. Sachs, and Mrs. Durkin. A person they can finally share their voice with, to be able to tell if they are happy, sad, scared, or hurt. Being SM, children, this is huge. Mrs. Sachs has been helping us transition the girls to verbal speech in school with the staff and the girls' peers. She has been a gift to us along with the teachers. Knowing that the girls are going forward into 3rd grade, we have already established a secure relationship with Mrs. Ford. Having her would be a huge benefit to one of our girls as a 3rd grade teacher. Building this rapport may seem trivial to you, but they are huge feats in our lives, which is why changing the dynamic that our Dean School staff would have would be detrimental to our situation. Each person plays a crucial part in our children's lives. I would love to thank Mrs. Leonardis, Ms. Malone, and Mrs. Antonelli, who began our journey with helping the twins begin to overcome their SM and academic issues. I'd like to thank Mrs. Sachs, Mrs. Bello, Mrs. O'Reilly, Mrs. Durkin, Mrs. Irizarry, Mrs. Lang, and Mrs. Mulholland for their commitment to my children, which has been extraordinary. Thank you, Mrs. Floyd, for working with the twins, even though they are not your current students. Again, without this staff, where would my daughters be? To move any of these women from out of school could hurt any advancement that my children may have to overcome their SM and their academic issues. Please consider how you would feel if your child needed help and only a handful of people had that power. Your decision will affect my family's future. Thank you for listening.
Mr. Garrido, members of the Board of Education, my name is Denise Matalante. I am a teacher at Sherman School, also a resident, but tonight I speak to you on behalf of the Sherman School staff.
And your address, Ms. Matalante?
310 East Clay Avenue. In the last few weeks, there has been a lot of talk among our colleagues regarding possible teacher transfers to other schools. There has been one confirmed staff member transfer thus far. This staff member has loyally served the children of Roselle Park for the last 22 years. Everyone is feeling concerned with regard to this transfer and the non-renewal of several non-tenured staff members. The goal of the Roselle Park School District is to always put students first. What is best for the students is our #1 priority. With that in mind, please remember, the teachers and support staff set out to make a difference in each student's life on a daily basis. We do not consider ourselves your basic employees. We inspire, support, and motivate our students and each other every day. We work together, striving to provide each student with a valuable and meaningful learning experience in a safe, positive, and nurturing environment. Moving teachers from a successful school means a lot more than just moving employees, especially staff members that work so well together. A staff that works cohesively and collaboratively will increase student achievement. A school is more than just a building. It has memories, special experiences, learning opportunities, and it is a home to both staff, students alike. For some of our students, we are the only constant in their little lives. Together, we have created these homes for the children of Roselle Park. We are a family.
Thank you.
I'm Jennifer Wilkes, I live at 144 East Webster Avenue. Rumor has it that the meetings changed. For what reason? Can anybody confirm that? Rumor has it, why are the teachers being changed?
There has no action being taken at this time. There has been discussion, and nothing has been
Okay.
finalized or...
But what is the reason?
What is the reason? Well, this is a personal matters. I'm not going to discuss the personal matters in public. However, there could be several reasons for changes in transfers. It does happen in many other districts. I'm not saying that we're going to be transferring anyone. We have not. There have been discussions about it. There has been no action taken on any transfers at this time.
I'd like to voice my opinion. My daughter goes to Sherman School. stand up there back to school night. Help the school, help them, help your kids. I do what they ask me to do. I go above and beyond. Why you would rather Sherman? They're like a rock, they're good, they work. If there's other teachers that have personal problems, do they know what happened in jobs in the real world where there's not meetings and contracts? If they can't get along, guess what? Get along or you go. I don't know why the answer is to move them to other schools and disrupt the schools that are working when they should grow up and learn to work together, and maybe that's the new thing. My daughter with learning disabilities, we got everything together. I do everything they asked me to do. They put everything in. I got another one in there. I don't see how breaking it up is going to make it work for people who need to grow up and do their job or move on. Thank you.
Barney Lumber, 549 East Grand Avenue. Over the years, Roselle Park School District has been known for their strong administrative, faculty, and supportive school board. The district has encouraged faculty members in furthering their education as well as furthering their career ambitions. Over the past 2 years, there has been a noticeable shift in our district's encouragement of elevating qualified faculty within the administrative positions within the district. We have been a district that attempts to bring continuity to our schools and children while encouraging and achieving high standards. With the recent administrative hirings, we have solely expressed to our faculty that if you wish to be hired for an administrative position in our district, you will need to go elsewhere. Are we willing to let qualified faculty from within our district leave because they do not have administrative experience on their resume? If that is so, many administrators that have worked and elevated our district would have never qualified or have been considered to work in Roselle Park.
Is 152 Berwyn Street. I'm a Sherman parent, but don't misunderstand me. I no longer have anyone in Sherman. But Sherman is my home. It's my children's home. When I left there last year, I cried. I was leaving my family. It was horrible. And the reason that they were my family is because the continuity was there. I've been management. If I had a problem with an employee, it came down on me. It didn't come down on the employee. Upper management came to me and said, what's going on here, and you need to take care of it. And then I would go to the employee and say, your choice. Keep your job, leave your job. You have to work together as a team. They're already a team. I substituted in the other buildings. Aldine is a team also. I've not spent much time with Robert Gordon, but that's where I'm hearing the problem is. If there's a problem here, that's what you need to take care of. Don't ruin the other buildings.
Seeing there's no one else, we're going to close the second. Come on up. Good evening.
Sorry to be late.
That's okay.
Grace from 120 Colfax Ave. Okay, so the problem is that we're going incorrect. So why would you bring the other jobs to their schools? How can you 100% guarantee that that help them at that school? And another thing, where did you come up with that school? Speak to other superintendents, or who did you advise?
First of all, thank you for the comments. I'm not going to comment on any personnel matters as to that because I cannot do that in public. Many districts transfer staff for many reasons. Okay, it could be maybe not a good fit for the building, maybe not a good fit for the pay level. We have not decided on any transfers at this time. And just so you understand, okay? No building is driving a decision for transfer. Okay? Individually, if we feel that there's a need for a transfer, that's a consideration from the administration, the entire administration. We have a district team. We don't have one individual school. So whatever is best for the district, that's what we're going to decide.
Well, if you do decide to go through that route, I've heard it from other companies, like cell phone companies, you transfer employees around. Their cell phones, their people, their students, their families, people are involved, families are involved, there's kids that can't deal with change. Would you even consider that?
Everything's always considered, and you know, I have to let you know that whether you believe it or not, or the audience, every decision that is made here is in the best interest of the students. Every decision. Okay? That's what drives me, that's why I'm here, and that's why we are doing what we're doing. No decision has been made on transfer. None whatsoever. There has been discussions going on transfer. There may not be now one particular school building that drives this. There may be several factors and several reasons why we may need to make some transfers. But we haven't decided on them yet. We haven't decided on them.
But just in case you do decide to do that, I just really hope that people take into consideration as well. And to think about if those schools are going to follow the other schools, how can 2% know that? You understand? So it's the whole point of doing that. It's like, to me, that doesn't make sense. Why spread it around? That's all. Thank you.
Hi, Sheila O'Reilly, Albion School. I just have one question. You were saying no transfers were confirmed. Is that correct?
No transfer has been confirmed as of yet. There has been discussions about possible transfers. There has been no confirmation. Nothing has been finalized.
So Gina Faria's transfer is not confirmed. Is that correct?
Nothing has been confirmed. I'm not going to comment on any personal matters in public. Nothing has been confirmed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Kim Molinaro, 828 Larch Street. What do personal matters have to do with moving the teachers?
That is personnel matters, not personnel.
So basically, what you're saying is you're going to take out Mrs. Faria, who's been in Aldine for 20-something years, who has helped me and my daughter, who has a learning disability, tremendously, to go to a different school because you have problems in that school?
I'm not going to comment on personal matters. No decisions have, no confirmation, no decisions have been made.
Okay, well, as of what date, as far as the contracts, will our teachers know when they're going to be transferred?
According to contract law, there's no dates that that is a deadline for transfers.
So when will we know?
There is no time. I mean, you can know in September. You can know in June.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing there's no one else, we'll close the second public participation portion of the evening. And thank you for all who made your comments. It's great to see the turnout, great to see the passion, and to hear your feelings. Right now, I'd like to talk to the Roselle Park Board of Education meeting here. I convenes to executive session. That means closed session for the following subjects of personnel. And it is anticipated our executive session will take approximately 20 to 30 minutes, where we'll open up again and then conclude the meeting. Do I have a motion? Yes.
No action's been taken?
Yes.
We're not going to do it over?
Ms. Alpine? Yes. Yes, we do have to go back.
No, I mean, what I'm saying is that...
And Ms. Alpine, can you call it?
What the board's getting ready to do now is make a motion to go into executive session, which is a closed discussion of the board for matters of personnel. When we return to public session, action may be taken. The closed session should take approximately 20 to 30 minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Osborne. Do I have a motion? Mr. Harms, second? Second, Mr. Balaban. We are in closed. Mr. Darren, second? Mr. Vita? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are in open. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for waiting. And before we close, I just wanted to say we heard all of the comments from the public. And everything you said, the issues that you raised have been noted. No action has been taken regarding any transfers, and no further action will be taken this evening. I just want to mention that our next board meeting will be right here at the Robert Gordon Gymnasium on May 26th, and we will start at 6:30. With that, do I have a motion to close? Adjourn. Mr. Bowden, second? Second, Mr. Bowman? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are closed. Have a good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out.